the Roseanne of Picatawga as of February the 14th, 1957. You're born on a Thursday, as I have the time 8:30 a.m. in Chicago. Which brings a combination of your Sun, Mercury, and Venus, all three in Aquarius, and of the Sun and Mercury. I'm trying to say the Sun is in the 12th house of chart, while Venus and Mercury is in the 11th house of chart. This will give you a remarkable personality. Being so somewhat just a little restless and patient, because I was trying to say these combinations are in the crisscross combination to the opposing influences, even say to the Moon, Pluto, and Uranus, it's all three in Leo. Now sometimes this can aggravate and upset one emotionally, sometimes make one restless and patient, it creates a little interval there, and it is intensified even as it now has been most likely during the last 2 years back in particular. That often has a tendency to interfere and aggravate the lack of happiness and contentment as far as the domestic point or domestic side of life or companionship. But at the same point, this will create a lot of development changes for you now that slowly continues to become more rewarding and happy and contenting than it's ever been before. Now Uranus is your ruling planet, and Uranus more or less to say being in Leo where the Moon, the emotions and tension of nerves is more or less an opposition nature to Mercury, and this has been very aggravated as far as the tension of nerves and particularly emotionally, and as far as the domestic side of life, they make everything is in a turmoil and confusion for you. But now I'd say it will require a little time yet, but more likely to become more stable, particularly beneficial to in the coming year or even the latter part of this year as of yet to see making advance this whole scale, even say a year, 2 years, 5 years and beyond, you're going to be more content, happy and secure than you even thought possible. Also, extended combination of Saturn, which is in Sagittarius, is in very good graces to these combinations. That's one good feature about this, because Saturn as a rule is the one planet that usually causes both individual a lot of problems and confusion, but the year Saturn seems to give more creative nerve activity, a serious kind of relationship and influences to stabilize the kind of life and make it more content and happier, and in time it's going to be very rewarding doing for you. We've done so lacking as of yet because it's Saturn, transiting Saturn has been through the opposition going back the last 2 years in particular. And I say there has been some kind of confusion even around family and domestic side that seem like it's intensified as of yet, but at the same time that Saturn will say in time is going to be wonderfully fortunately blessed for many, many years. All the extended combination of Jupiter will also have to go through an opposition too, which is pending even as of now. This is going to be a little touch and aggravator of positive out of work or business conditions, and may also indicate some unexpected development or change on the job as far as a little shake-up in my way of reading it in. It might take effect possibly on the person even into the latter part of October, more or less even say into November. But there's a lot of adjustment and improvement that seems to be pending in regard to your own achievements or accomplishments and making it more professionalized as far as ability, as far as work or business or career in itself. It becomes more interesting, rewarding to and for you. Also, extent of all the traveling involved in the deal as well. And feel like this in time becomes more encouraging because Mars combination and the process combination of faith and Neptune seem like creates a restlessness within oneself. It seems like the activity want to get out and get away from it all, even though naturally the close unity to family and friends and associations even in location will change, but seem like in many ways the sense of desire is there to get away but always to return. But back in all the sense of a wonderful blessing, seeing a lot of activities that so many of your plans are kind of grouped up that do have a tendency to close each other, because the thing you have this 3 in the one side opposing the 3 in the other side, the extent to make this cause of tension, there's aggravation, and then the Mars and the Neptune oppose each other. So you did come into the world at a time the planets were at war with each other. Even though more touching, aggravating you, but the beauty of it is the tendency to complete the adversities even in the the age of life, even as of this year in particular, and more definitely as they become more stable, happy, content on the long-term range, you're going to be more fortunately blessed than the average individual as far as longevity and having contentment in later years of life and such. And it's referred to that the combination of Uranus is your ruling planet, but at the same point of consideration, Mars is the ruler of the ascendant, because you have Aries on the ascendant, which intensifies the activity of Mars, and Mars has a lot of willpower, independence, and determination in this picture that seem like there's a very powerful influences of activity. And also extent that Venus rules the second house of life, health-wise, and as far as financial conditions are indicated, more so than anything else, because it rules the house of finances. But it intensifies the activity emotionally, it even affects the health condition as well. But from the financial point of view, the Venus of the bunker platform being this close unity, these planetary influences, and in the mid as I'm sure makes me sense, it's so good in so many ways there. It shows your creative artistic ability. You have a natural talent of entertaining, to make it express the sign of your life, and like you have a wonderful blessing, to make it in a very congenial, good nature factor individual, but very little security and happiness that you find within yourself. But in time, seeing like this all changes, then you will bring about happiness and a rewarding factor. Financial adjustment influence become more stable, rewarding, emotional become more stronger, secure, and the intensity of modesty method gives you ability to stand up and determine what you want when you want and tell them where to go if they don't like it. You're not argumentative, you're very good, continuing your nature disposition, but at times you make it get to the point that you have to explode just a little bit. Now, as Mercury rules the third house, which is very promising good as far as educational benefits.